Well, good morning, everyone. And how are you? Once again, welcome to another live this morning. And we always want to start our day by saying hello to our dear friends that come on live with us. We appreciate that very much. Brahim, there you are. And Andrea, Niagara Falls. Brahim is from Portland, Oregon. And Beverly from New Brunswick, how are you? Janice from Brampton. Lise, how are you? We appreciate you guys right at the top this morning. Nativity, good morning. Sandy from Fergus Falls, Minnesota. Rosalinda from the Kidneys of Canada, Niagara Falls. Jude, Troy, New York. Kevin from Oshawa. Fran from Orangeville, good morning. Nick from our staff, good morning, Nick. Karen, how are you? And Cecilia from Shediac, Nouveau-Brunswick, how are you? Donna, Park Hill, Denise, Oakville, Jeanette, bonjour. Maria, Ottawa, how are you? Wendy from Markham, good morning. Jeanette from our staff. And IT, Unionville, and, I couldn't see it. Wanda, Norma, Texas, and Wanda from West Tennessee. Nancy, Gore's Landing, Jeanette, Nellie, good morning, Nellie. And Francis, how are you? Robin, Connecticut, nice to have you on. Roma, Brampton. Lori, Niagara Falls. Catherine, Parksville, British Columbia. Judy, Port Perry. Arlene, good morning. And Rachel, how are you? Bruno, good to have you on. And, I think it's Sherry. I think it is. Brandon in Indiana. Nina. And, I missed it. Sharon from Kansas. Up in the clouds, can't see it. Evelyn. And Faye, we love you. How are you? Jean, Bradenton, Florida. Marlis, how are you? Bonnie, good morning. Couple more guys. Barbara from Kansas. And Dale from Waterloo, how are you? And Donna saying hello to Arlene. Tina, Nova Scotia. Sue, St. Petersburg. Etta. And Chantal right in our backyard in Sudbury. Diane, Thunder Bay. And John, how are you? Okay, guys, I got 6 news items or articles. I don't know how many we'll get to. But let's start with this one. This is really interesting study. I actually saw this on CNN's website. Okay, it says this: limiting sugar in toddlers lowers adult chronic illnesses. Okay, let me say that again. This is a study that looked at if you can limit sugar in toddlers, they can avoid, not completely, but substantially, according to this study, their risk of getting chronic diseases, especially diabetes and heart disease. Limiting sugar when they're young. Guys, I tell you, I couldn't agree more with this study. You know what? Kids get hooked today at a very early age. They get hooked on sugar. Sugar's a drug. It really is. It takes the same route in your brain that cocaine does. I remember watching years ago this. They showed the route of addiction in the brain. And sugar does it, folks. And especially today, because they changed the sugar to high fructose corn syrup, that even makes it worse. It's sweeter than ever. And I've talked to you in the past about what fructose does to your liver. Anywho, what this study is saying, if we could just limit that. And one of the things that I suggest, and I've suggested to parents, don't give toddlers fruit juices. Because, oh well, they're thirsty. Give them water. Wean them on water. Guys, I can't tell you the amount of benefit that is by weaning a child after breast milk on water. They don't need milk anymore. Okay? They really don't. And if you were to give them milk, give them some cream. And I mean it. But they don't need it. Mommy's milk, then H2O. Where parents really make a difference is when they go to, and they wouldn't even consider this a sugary drink, but I do. And that is milk. Store-bought. Not the cow in the backyard milk, but store-bought milk, very sweet. And they looked at, these are observational studies, but I like it because it it's telling us what I've been saying. It seemed like a century. Well, it's really a half a century. Sugar is toxic. Your body knows it, but the world doesn't know it. Your body knows sugar is toxic. It really, really limits the amount of sugar left in the bloodstream. That's what insulin's all about. Imagine children starting with insulin resistance like toddlers. And I feel sorry for parents because they've been misled. They've been taught. It's all like water. There's no nutrition in water. So they don't think of giving children water, but children need water. Much more than they need milk. And this study is pretty impressive. You reduce down the road. If sugar is pretty well eliminated as a toddler, and again, the worst sugar is drinking it in fructose, diabetes reduced by 35% and high blood pressure by 20%, heart disease. Wow. Yeah. Okay. I like that study. I find it interesting. Parents, like I said, not easy because you're bombarded. You go down the aisles of the grocery store and what do you see? You see all these juices. There's 50 different kinds. And then you see all these cereals. And the kids today, they don't have a chance unless parents are educated and realize, you know what? I don't care what the rest of the world is doing. My kids are not getting that. And I'm telling you, if you wean your kids on water when drinking, just get them to drink water. What a difference that has made. I've seen that 1,000 times in my office. What a difference it makes. Vitamin W. instead of drinking anything else after mummy. Okay? Nothing better than mummy's milk. Nothing better than that. With the colostrum and all the bacteria, the good stuff, the microbiome, and it's all good, mummy. Then water. And when a kid is weaned on water, they'll love water the rest of their lives. And then they can add coffee when they get older. Okay, that was study number 1. Oh, okay, here's another one. This was an interesting one that I found. The question was asked in this article, can collagen, okay, stop cancer? Collagen. Okay? Now, what is collagen? Well, it's sort of like it's 3 amino acids. Your body produces collagen, mostly from your connective tissue. And I like it's sort of scaffolding. Like it helps to knit everything together in your body. Okay? And that's collagen. And you need collagen for your skin and your hair and your nails and your muscles. And collagen is so good for you. Okay? Now, this study was looking at whether collagen can stop cancer. Interesting. It said that it seems to keep cancer cells from spreading and keep 2 things. Keeps cancer cells from spreading, and secondly, tumor cells keeps them asleep. Initial studies on collagen. Okay, let me continue reading. Okay, even in this article, they said the best collagen is bone broth. Bone broth. Bone broth collagen. I love bone broth. You guys know that. It's a tremendous protein powder because collagen protein is the best protein. And you can make Dr. Martin's perfect smoothie with it. So good for kids too. Give them that bone broth. Why? It's got so much L-glutamine in it. And L-glutamine really reknits, repairs and reknits leaky gut. And any kind of inflammatory bowel disorder. L-glutamine is tremendous for that. But they're showing in this study that there's real promise for collagen when it comes to cancer, for keeping cancer cells asleep and tumor cells from growing. I like that. Okay? Now, collagen, best one, is bone broth. Make your own, folks. Make your own bone broth. Or we make a good bone broth. Okay. And by the way, just for, when it comes to skin, collagen's tremendous for skin. We used to get a lot of feedback when I was in practice, okay, of bone broth, because I highly recommended it. Anybody that had any kind of digestive issues. But then people would come back to the office on their 2nd or 3rd visit and say, you know what? My hairdresser said, man, is that ever good for your hair? What are you doing? And they go, I don't know. What am I doing? Oh, the only thing I've added is bone broth. Dr. Martin made me do it by making me a Dr. Martin's perfect smoothie every day. Oh, well, I'm really noticing a difference in your hair. Collagen's good for that. Good for skin. Good for hair. Okay. And remember one thing, too, about collagen. What decreases collagen in your body is stress. Cortisol. Oh, that stinking cortisol. Right? Stress. It actually, stress can, affect your skin and your collagen. The other thing is, coming back to sugar, you know what really affects your skin? Destroys skin is sugar. What? Well, it glycates. Okay, what we call advanced glycation end products. Oh, give it a big name so nobody even knows what we're talking about. But if you, guys, when I talk about A1C, right? You know what A1C is it's a measurement of your hemoglobin that's been lassoed by sugar. What is hemoglobin? Oh, that's the molecule inside your red blood cell that carries oxygen. And you can actually measure this. Sugar attaches to it and it ages it. It glycates it. And you can measure that. That's why I talk about A1C all the time. One of my favorite blood tests is A1C. Why? Because you can look and see if your red blood cells are being hijacked by sugar. And if it's anything above 5.4, you're on the Titanic. Too much sugar glycating your red, but sugar doesn't only glycate your red blood cells and the hemoglobin there, it glycates your collagen in your skin, around your organs. Guys, one thing I've been consistent about is talking about the toxicity of sugar. From toddlers to any age, sugar is toxic. I know it tastes good, but it's toxic. Okay. Limiting sugar in toddlers and collagen for cancer. Here's another one on cancer. Number 3, new study on flax seeds. Now, you guys know me. I like flax seeds. I've told you that. When people say, oh, Dr. Martin, it's a phytoestrogen, that means it elevates your estrogen. No, it doesn't. That's not what it means. It lowers extra estrogen. That's a big problem today. It's a huge problem today. I was being interviewed yesterday, and I talked about, I actually talked about this at our health conference last week at Collège Boréal in Sudbury. I talked about this. I said, I wrote a book years ago, Serial Killers, 2 Hormones That Want You Dead. And you know what? I feel like writing another one, 3 hormones that want you dead. Insulin, cortisol, and estrogen. Now listen to what flax seeds do. Okay, this is new, by the way. Okay, this isn't studies that show flax seeds because of their lignin content. Lowers estrogen. Ladies, but second, okay, listen to this. Flax seeds, new studies, it blocks the inflammatory effect of interleukin-1. Remember, Inflammation is not Houdini. If you have high circulating insulin, if you have free radical damage, leaky gut, or all three, you're raising the amount of inflammation in the body. Okay? And this inflammation is not pain. Because people think inflammation, well, I've got no pain, doc. Yeah, but your inflammation markers are up because you have, elevated insulin, elevated, you got elevated insulin, leaky gut, often go together. Oxidative damage, free radical damage. And inflammation is a result of that. And inflammation left unchecked will destroy blood vessels, destroy tissues, promote cancer cells. And so flax seeds lower estrogen. Okay? They lower xenoestrogens especially. They help block that. 2, okay? They diminish interleukin-1, inflammation. They lower inflammation. New study. I like it. I like flax seeds. My favorite seed is flax seeds. I usually don't get people, one of the problems, okay, and let me just say this because I want to explain what I mean. A lot of people don't realize they eat too frequently. They're snacking. And like, I don't know if you've ever watched a chipmunk or squirrels. I mean, it seems to me they run around all day long. Like, I've never seen a critter get so prepared for winter. Like, they spend all summer running around collecting nuts. Like, I get tired watching them. They just run around all day and back and forth preparing for winter. I love it. No, but guys, we're not squirrels or chipmunks. You don't have to be munching on nuts and seeds all the time. I tell people, why are you doing that? Anywho, one thing I want you to do, flax seeds. I like flax seeds in Dr. Martin's Perfect Smoothie. Add them. Add a tablespoon. Really good for you. Because they block estrogen and they lower inflammation. New study. How do you like that? Isn't that impressive? I find that impressive. Okay, so that was number 3, I think. Okay. Oh, this is a new one on autism. Okay? And here's the article. One thing, it says, that is common. Okay? People that work with autistic kids. One thing that is common, they said, they all have messed up guts. Yeah. They're not even talking about leaky gut, although they do have leaky gut. I never saw, by the way, an exception to that. Leaky gut, leaky brain. Okay? And I have my own hypothesis on an autistic child, and I'll give you that in a minute. But let me just finish with this. One thing in common. This was an article, okay? With people who work with autistic kids, and they say this. One thing that is common, they all got messed up bowels. meaning they got digestive problems. I always look at the layer under that, okay, because they got messed up bowels, according to this survey. One thing in common, they all got messed up bowels. But I go deeper than that because I say they all got leaky gut. Because sometimes you can have leaky gut and no symptoms of digestive issues, okay? Now, often with leaky gut, you do get digestive issues. But sometimes, and actually fairly frequently, you get it's downstream from your bowel. Like depression. You get depression, leaky gut, leaky brain. And they don't even talk about that. Unless you're talking to some alternative medicine or integrative medical doctors, they don't even see it. To me, that, like, we have a scourge in our society in the amount of depression there is. And very few look at the gut. And one of the things in autism that I found, okay, they're talking digestive issues. I don't disagree with that. I saw a lot of that in these kids. I saw autistic kids. But one thing I did find, they all had leaky gut. They had dysbiosis. They had their bacteria was all messed up. They had so many more bad guys than good guys. We call that dysbiosis. Their terrain of their gut, the microbiome was completely changed. And I didn't have the ability to study, bacterial strains. Like, I was a clinician, not a researcher. Okay, I looked at patients, real patients, and every one of them with autism had a major leaky gut, major invasion of the Trojan horse fungus, Candida. No exceptions. And I've written, even in my latest book, Sun, Steak, and Steel, and I probably wrote it in another 20 books that I wrote, about leaky gut and what happens when yeast gets into the bloodstream. It doesn't stay in the bowel. It goes everywhere, from brain to joints to lungs to sinuses. And these kids are just canaries in the coal mine. And one of the factors, and this is me, because I did surveys. I was interested. Give me this child's background. Mommy, were you on antibiotics? Mommy, did you have a C-section? Mommy, was this kid on antibiotics for ear infections early in their life? All of the above. I looked at all that stuff. And, in several of my books, I talk about autism and the connection. What comes first? To me, leaky gut. Leaky gut. They get dysbiosis. And, but interesting, this study says one thing they have in common, this is the headline, incredibly messed up guts. Yeah, well, more than they know. They weren't even talking about leaky gut. They were just talking about digestive symptoms like bloating and constipation or diarrhea or IBS or whatever they were, any of those conditions. Autistic kids seem to be pretty consistent. Interesting, huh? Yeah, I found it interesting. Okay. Okay, let's stop there because I've got a study on high blood pressure, and I think I'll do that with you tomorrow. Okay, so we touched on a few things today. Oh, this is a new one on PPIs too. So we got a couple of proton pump inhibitors. It's all bad news. Why? You got to try and avoid that stuff like the plague. Okay. Now, lots of questions came in the last, well, a lot of questions come in every week, and we like that. This is a question and answer place. Ask your questions. To be sure, if you want it answered on air, then make sure it gets to us at info@martinclinic.com. Okay? info@martinclinic.com. Because if you just post it up there, or even in our private Facebook group, and you want to get it on Fridays, we got to be able to see it for sure. Okay? And we really appreciate your questions. Don't be shy, is what we're telling you. Okay? We love you guys. And we appreciate our audience. Big time. Okay, guys. Love you and talk to you soon.